G'day, I'm Nick Topham, founder of Productrex and CTO of the Advisor Ratings Group. In this video, I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive, a bit of a step through of the SMA reporting standard as it is today. So we're at version 1.21. So again, we're kind of going to go into each of the points in the standard and talk about that a little bit. So obviously with these versions, like I said, these do change. We've got minor and major versions, but yeah, this is version 1.21. All right, let's get started. So this is a bit of a summary of the SMA standard. First thing, name. Guys, look, this is low-hanging fruit. I'm gonna be honest with you. For SMAs, it needs to be dealt with. There's a couple of really important points for SMAs. Okay, so number one, if you have two SMAs and they are identically invested, they should have the same name. Okay, I'm talking identical investment holdings, identical investment approach, ABC balanced SMA, ABC balanced SMA. We differentiate them on the platform, which we'll get to in a second. Super easy. So by doing this, we know that these are directly comparable, okay? If you have two SMAs and they do not have the same holdings, so let's say platform A has some holdings, platform B, for whatever reason, is slightly different, maybe due to perhaps the investments that are available on platform B. Okay, if this happens, do not give them the same names. You have to call them something different as part of the standard. The reason we do that is so we know they are not the same SMA. They are not directly comparable. Okay, this is basic stuff for a standard. That's the main thing with names. Okay. So moving on, we've got our platform code. Now this is the code that is assigned to your SMA by each individual platform. So for example, if you go to Hub24, they'll give you a code. If you go to NetWealth, they'll give you a different code. If you go to BT Panorama, they'll give you a different code, whatever it is, okay? So it's the code assigned to that SMA by the platform, okay? Next one is the platform group available. So again, like I just talked about, Hub, NetWealth, BT, whatever, expand, all the different platforms that are out there. It's worth noting for this one, we do ask you to choose from a predefined list. So you'll see in this version of the standard, there is a link right here. This goes and basically shows all those options that we provided. It's a comprehensive list. If for some reason there's something missing, maybe it's like a private label platform or something like that, please just contact us, support@smastandard.com.au. We'll add it to that list really quickly, really easily. Please don't go and add just different platform names, okay? All right, the next three items are all pretty similar. So we've got underlying investment fees, management fees and costs, performance fees, and transaction costs. So these are your three RG97 components. So that is the RG97 disclosable fees for your underlying holdings. Okay, really straightforward. So I'm not going to get into a discussion about the merits of RG97. That ship has sailed. We've lost that opportunity to self-regulate in the area of managed funds. We're thankful we're at the place we are now, and we get to do a bit of self-regulation with regards to SMAs. But I'm not going to get into that discussion. Okay, super easy for each of these three things. It is the weighted average of those particular fees for your SMA. Okay, there's some guidelines here on how to calculate that. It's very standard stuff. Every person or every SMA manager should be collecting this information anyway. There's a few notes in these. Go ahead and read through it. I'm not going to go through this in any particular detail. This is data you should already have. Again, not going to discuss the merits of whether we should or shouldn't disclose performance or transaction costs. These are mandatory fields under RG97. You have to do it. There's no real discussion to be had there. Okay, next one is what we're calling the fee discount. I've heard it called a rebate, all sorts of things. Basically, as we know, when SMAs are dealing with volumes, and let's say within your SMA you have a wholesale managed fund, the managed fund manager may give you a rebate. This is pretty standard both for public and private SMAs. And this field is simply the weighted rebate across the whole portfolio. So we don't want you going and modifying your investment management fees and costs. These should be as per the PDS for those products. If you are receiving a rebate, you can use this field to disclose it. Okay. It's worth me noting for this field, we don't directly disclose your, in product recs anyway, we don't disclose the rebates. These are rolled up, and as part of the standard as well, these are rolled up into the investment fees. However, for reporting purposes, we do ask these to be split out. Okay, portfolio fees again. So this is a little bit, this is kind of one of the main issues before the standard was applied, in that the fee that a consumer paid that was not related to investments was not standardized. And that's essentially what we call a portfolio fee. We've chosen some neutral wording, okay? The portfolio fee is any fee that a consumer pays that is not related to the underlying assets. So our underlying assets are our RG97 and our fee rebates. Put them to one side. Okay, our portfolio fee is everything else. Now, usually this is made up of the investment manager's fee, so the SMA, the amount that the SMA manager gets paid, and the platform fee. Okay, we don't ask you to split those, but do make sure you report both of them. So you must report the fee that is paid to the manager and the fee that is paid to the platform. I understand there are some other complexities around those fees and negotiations and all that sort of stuff. We're not wanting to get into that at this stage. We simply want the total fee paid by the consumer, not related to the underlying assets. Okay? Should be pretty straightforward. We don't need to make it any more complex than it already is. Okay, moving down, SMA transaction costs. I will note before I get into SMA transaction costs, this is our first piece of development. We're going to work through with industry on this. This is an optional field because there is some discussion to be had. Let's be honest. This is a collaborative effort. SMA transaction costs are essentially brokerage paid on SMA transactions. So if you've got an SMA of Australian equities and you're trading through a platform which has, 10, 11, 12, 20 bips brokerage fees, this is how much a consumer will pay on brokerage each year, percentage value, each year on your SMA. So you can see we've got our recommended calculation here. We've gone with something really straightforward, data that everyone has got. It's the turnover ratio of, for example, Australian equities in your SMA multiplied by the proportion of Australian equity holdings in the SMA multiplied by the brokerage rate for the platform. Really, really basic, really straightforward. I understand different platforms have things like brokerage minimums. Some of them have fixed dollar amounts in their brokerage minimums, that sort of stuff. But we have to go with something which is equitable and which can be used across all platforms to give a standard measure. We do see this evolving over time. However, this is what we are working with right now. Okay, some more work on SMA transaction costs. Asset allocation, this stuff's pretty straightforward. Look, at this point, we are going to keep collating data for the industry around asset allocation. We do want to do some work on, providing a bit more of a standard measure there, but we really need to understand what's going on first. Asset allocation type, so this is the type of asset allocation you're reporting. Actual is the actual holdings. Dynamic, strategic, and tactical are other methods of asset allocation or asset allocation reporting. Okay, we do ask you to choose from these 4 types. If you have another type that's not there, please get in contact with us, support@smastandard.com.au, and we'll hash it out and see what we can do. Asset allocation itself, really straightforward. We're basically looking for, again, the type that you have selected up here, your asset allocation for the SMAs at that point in time. We've got a little example down here in kind of a list format, but basically you've got key value pairs, so your key being the asset type and the value being the holding as a decimal. Okay, look, this is really straightforward. Everyone's got this data. It is disclosed by platforms. Most platforms, some of them don't do it. But again, it needs some work. It needs some standardization. We've chosen a very, very basic reporting method here. You'll see here we've given some examples of asset types. It's worth noting at this time, you can choose your own asset types. You can do whatever you like. We may seek to refine that in the future. So we've just done a basic one here. Obviously, you could have things like fixed interest or infrastructure or alternatives, whatever you like. Okay. And that's the SMA reporting standard at this point in time. I will just make a special note down the bottom, gone past it. We do also offer a change log just to see what changes with each version. And obviously, if you are a participant, you'll get an email each time this is updated, just letting you know what changes have occurred, and we'll have, dates for the changeover of the new versions and that sort of stuff. But anyway, that's a bit of a deep dive through the SMA reporting standard, version 1.21. Again, as always, if you do have any questions, please contact us, support@smastandard.com.au, or of course, you're welcome to contact me directly. Thanks.